guys, welcome back to Ashheartbooks. Today is going to be my favorite books of 2017. I can't believe it's already almost 2018, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good year. Hopefully, a better year than last year. You can always improve upon your year, right? So I decided to do a top 10, which wasn't exactly easy because as of today, I have a few days left, but as of today, I've read 104 books this year, which I was quite impressed with for myself. I'm pretty sure that's the most I've ever read in a year, so I was very pleased with that. So it was a little bit challenging to make a top 10, but I think I've chosen well. And I did cheat a little bit. If I read the whole series this year, I did go ahead and just count that as one number instead of multiples because, overall it was the whole series. So let's look at my favorite books this year. Oh, side note, they're really not in any particular order because that would just be way too challenging for me. But I will say the top two are probably my top two favorites for the year, but the other ones are kind of just in a random order. The first one is actually an author, and that's Tessa Dare. I discovered her this year. I loved a couple of her books. This is The Duchess Deal, which is one of her more recent ones. I love this book. It's one of my favorites, historicals. It's so funny, it's sweet, there's great protagonists, so definitely a favorite. Number 9 is going to be In Bed with a Highlander by Maya Banks. Contrary to its really kind of risque title, I really enjoyed that book. I don't actually have a copy of it. It's on my Kindle, but I kind of forgot to bring it over here, so we're just gonna go with it. But In Bed with a Highlander is a kind of Scottish historical romance, and it was just, I don't know why, like that one, out of all the kind of Scottish romances I read this year, that one just really sticks out in my brain, and it's one that I really remember even though I read it about 6 months ago. So that one I really enjoyed. I love the characters, I love the plot. I thought it was a little more plausible. I thought it wasn't quite as love at first sight as some of them are. So if you're looking for a good historical romance, I definitely suggest that one, and I really want to read the rest of that series this year or next year. Number 8 was A Court of Mist and Fury, and I don't actually have that one with me because I actually don't own that one. I read it on my Kindle. I still need to buy that one, but I loved A Court of Mist and Fury. That series by Sarah J. Maas is one of my favorite YA, New A, whatever genre that is, books. I think it does a fantasy and action, adventure, and romance really well. Love the characters. I'm so excited that we're going to get a little bit more of that next year, and I just thought it was very well done. I thought it was a good conclusion to Feyre and Rhys and the rest of the gang's story. Number 7 is The Fox and the Hound by R.S. Gray. That, you guys have heard me talk about that in a lot of these before, and that was just my favorite probably rom-com of the year. I just think R.S. Gray can do no wrong. I love all of her books. Some are a little bit more funny, some are a little bit more serious, but that one was a little bit more on the funny, like romantic comedy side. But I just thought it was so good. It's about a veterinarian and a businessman who meet, and I just thought it was so funny. There's dogs, or no, he's a veterinarian and she has a big dog. Mixing up my books now, but yeah, I thought it was really sweet, really cute. Again, out of all the books, that one just kind of stuck out at me, and that's how I pretty much chose these. If it was one I remembered and really just kind of resonated with me, it was put on the list. So that one, if you're looking for a romantic comedy or something that's funny and sweet and kind of lighthearted, definitely check out all of R.S. Gray, but definitely The Fox and the Hound. Number 6 is the Black is Gold series by R. Scarlett. This one is kind of an urban fantasy paranormal romance series that I read this year, and I did read the whole series, but I'm just gonna keep it as one number. This was very good. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting much when I first picked the series up, but I was just kind of had seen people talking about it, so I thought I'd pick it up. And it just really was good. I thought it was really unique. I hadn't read anything to do. It had a very interesting spin on kind of demons and the underworld and all of that, and I loved Molly Darling. I thought she was a really fantastic protagonist, very strong, and I just really enjoyed it. Number 6 is The Conspiracy of Us by Maggie Hall. This one, again, I wasn't expecting to love as much as I did. This is a YA kind of action adventure / romance series. I read the whole series this year. I thought it was fantastic. If you're looking for a YA series but you're kind of wary and don't know you know, if you are not as interested in as many YA series anymore, I would give this one a try. I just thought it was full of adventure. Each book was very kind of like pressing forward. The pace was good. I loved the characters. It really was like a Da Vinci Code meets kind of like National Treasure, historical vibes. If you like history, it was just so good, and I'm looking forward to anything else Maggie Hall writes. Number 4 is going to be the Addicted series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. You guys have heard me talk about this series nonstop, but I just think it's a very underrated series and it deserves more love. It's so good. The whole series, I think it's like 8 books, and I blew through them in the summer in like 2 weeks. I think I read all 8 books. It was so addicting. Get it? And it was just really fun. It was very heartbreaking at times, but it was one of those series that by the time you're done, you feel like those characters are real people and they're real like friends, and you really just, that one had me sobbing. Like, I don't cry that easily in books, but that one I was like tearful in at least 4 out of the 8, so it did its job. Number 3 is actually a very recent read, and that is Roomies by Christina Lauren. I just finished this book the other day, and it got put on the list because I loved it. I love Christina Lauren's other books. I've read her Beautiful Bastard series and really liked those. This is just so good. I'll talk more about it like in depth in my wrap up for December, but I just thought it was so fun. I loved the kind of marriage of convenience storyline in a very modern day way. I thought it made perfect sense. So this follows a girl who lives in New York and a guy, and he's a musician, and she meets him in the subway, and it kind of turns into this marriage of convenience because there's this reason that he can't stay in the United States, and it just is really good, and you guys have to read it. If you love Christina Lauren's other books, definitely pick this up. I just adored it. The characters were funny, they were relatable. I loved Holland and Calvin, who's the male character in the book. Can't speak today. I just thought it was great. I mean, it's hard to describe exactly why I loved it, but I couldn't put it down. I read it in one day, and it's definitely a favorite for this year. Number 2 shouldn't come as too much of a surprise, and that is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the last book. This is the Bad Blood, and I really love it. You guys know I've loved it. It's a mystery thriller kind of series. I just think for a YA series, it's done so well. It really keeps you on your toes. It's creepy, but not to the point where you can't sleep at night. It's believable, and it really is just such a good series if you're looking for like a YA, even if you not want YA. I feel like this really resonates with a wide range of people, so definitely pick it up if you're looking for a new series to get it into. And my number 1 book that I love for this year of 2017 is Lisa Kleypas. So I know it's not a book, it's an author, but I couldn't pick just one because I really discovered her in general this year, but she is my favorite historical romance author as of now. I've read almost all of her books. I think there's like 4 left that I haven't read. I'm kind of saving them for desperate times. This is probably my favorite if I had to pick one from her, which is Devlin Winter, part of the Wallflower series, but they're all fantastic. She just has a way of writing historical romances so that they feel real, like they feel like it's a friend you could have in modern society, but it also kind of takes you away from reality and plops you into history and lets you kind of escape. Her characters are all flawed, but flawed in a way that just makes them so darn likable. And I love all her male characters. They're all very, even the brooding ones, they're not like overly brooding, and they all have like reason for it. So I don't know, I love it. If you like historicals, or even if you don't, I definitely suggest checking out Lisa Kleypas. I just think she's the one who really made me fall in love with historicals, because I'd read 1 or 2, but I wasn't like in love with them. But when I read her and I read her Wallflower series, that's when I really was like, oh, this is what people are talking about, and I just fell down the rabbit hole. So thank you, Lisa Kleypas. Okay guys, those are all of my favorite books for 2017. I'm very excited for next year and to see what I get to read next year. Let me know what some of your favorites were. I would love to know. I love watching these videos. They're one of my favorites to watch for the whole year because I feel like you get a little bit of like a snapshot of everyone's favorites in a couple of minutes. So definitely let me know what yours are. If you've done your own video, link it down below so I can go watch it. I would love to. Thank you guys so much for watching, and subscribe if you would like to, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!